So in this video I'm using American Black walnut to create a gift style present box complete with ribbons and bows. Here I'm using a DeWalt DW733 thickness planer to create a uniform thickness across all the boards, plus it gives me a relatively smooth finish that requires minimal sanding afterwards. As you can see, it effortlessly processes the boards and I remove a little material with each pass. It's important to just remove a little material to prevent that kickback and chip outs. Now we go to the table saw to square off the edges of the boards using the built-in miter sled. The miter sled's an absolute powerhouse on this table saw, brilliant. I couldn't really think of sort of doing this job anymore without one. It's that good. With some careful measurements, I'm able to cut the boards down to the lengths that I need using the miter sled itself, which is incredibly accurate. Still squaring off some boards here. I've used other table saws and the miter sleds are they're not up to par, they just don't work. This one is absolutely solid. Still just cutting down the lengths that I need. Super accurate. Now I'm doing some rip cuts down the lengths of the boards, making them all the same width. It just makes for the final sort of final build to be without hitch. Here I'm actually using a roofing square to align the corners of the boards, and it allows me to get a 90-degree angle, perfect 90-degree angle. I also use CA glue and an accelerator spray, which you just saw me spraying then, and that allows me to get the initial bond, which later I go in and reinforce with screws. I do hide the screws when I'm making projects. I think it gives for a more professional look in the final finish. There are some applications where exposed screws are needed, but this isn't one of them, I didn't think. This also could have been done with dowels and glue. Just gluing on the final piece of the skeleton frame. Here I am applying the base. I do it in 3 parts. Plenty of CA glue. It bonds in 5 to 10 seconds. It makes for the whole process just a lot easier. Now I'm just tidying up the edges on the table saw, making sure that everything is flush. And again, that makes it easier, so I'm not having to do a lot of sanding. So off camera I went and glued the boards to the other side of the frame, same as the base that I just did, and then I cut the whole top off, and that leaves me with a perfect lid. There we go, that's the lid. I dress up this whole box afterwards. Right now I'm drawing the bows, and the wood is a white oak and a walnut glue up. This part doesn't need to be as accurate because I'll refine the shape later on. This is just a rough out. Then I take it over to the bandsaw and I cut all the balls out. This is a fiddly job and you definitely have to be careful. These are all the parts that are roughed out. You can see the walnut down the middle there. Now I'm drawing the ribbons. Once cut there, they'll sort of serve as the ends of the ribbon where the balls are tied. These are all the individual parts, and I went ahead and added a purple heart centre. I just thought that it needed a little bit more depth and sort of colour, a bit of character. And that purple really popped in the final form. Now I'll go and start to refine all the parts using a Dremel and a mixture of sanding and carving bits. The carving bits are really dangerous because they can pinch into the wood and they can kick off. It's caused many injuries. As you can see, I've been wearing a plaster for the most of the part of the video. This is the final form. I went ahead off camera and carved all the ribbons to give them a bit more character. When I take the lid off the box, you'll see the little pillars. Those pillars are for the rings and they've been measured carefully for the rings of the person that the box was made for. A nice little compartment with some more ribbons.